My name is Barbara Kasten, and I'm sitting in my installation Sightlines at the Warr Pavilion in Bexhill-on-Sea. Well, I was trying to relate the beams that support the building in terms of support, but also relationship to the environment, and how sitting here at the seaside, the light infiltrates the room, and I wanted it to glow with the light, but I also wanted to reflect it back out towards the sea. I thought of the space as a proscenium facing the sea, and the beams were relating to the structure of the building, and these theatrical-like sets were reflecting the beams and the rhythm of the ocean and the relationship between nature and the architecture of the building. It was built as a community center, from what I understand, and I felt like I wanted to have an involvement from the body to the pieces that I was constructing. So this movement that comes from the undulating mirrors is kind of like looking at a movie screen, where the people looking into and that are in the set become part of the piece, just as they were intended to be part of this whole community. My work is really a continuum of many ideas that I've held for quite a while. My interest in architecture may have come from the fact that I was born in Chicago and it's well known for its architecture. But I gravitated to making structures in front of the camera, and they became constructions similar to the kind of things that I saw in the paintings of Moholy-Nagy or Kandinsky and people of the Bauhaus in the constructivist period. And so that made me much more aware of the building processes, but also aware of architecture. Of course, employed these building processes. One of the first things I did that involved actual architecture were the architectural site photographs in the 80s. And in that, I was fortunate enough to be able to photograph some very famous buildings in New York, to begin with, of my own choosing, for a commission for Vanity Fair magazine. And in doing so, I had full all-night access. And so the process I used in the studio, mirrors, colored lights, and a cinematic crew, it became much more like a photo, not a photo shoot, but a film shoot. That was the beginning of this real desire to work more and more with architecture. And the image we're showing here at Delaware is very much in tune with all the elements that are in the show. The convolution of and the distortion of the mirrors, that's in this first piece of photography. And the brightly colored beams, which are a mix of the practical elements of building and the frivolous sort of nature of color, and especially this acrylic color. And using building materials like the innards of a wall with these metal studs for the sets. All of that is just a mix of everything I've been doing from the time I started photographing. And it's just getting more and more involved with the kind of, with architecture in a bigger presence. So this has been sort of the ultimate experience at this point in time. The fact that I'm working in such a beautiful building, I can relate to the building both from my own perspective and from the perspective of the purpose of the building, the environment that it's set in. So it's a mix of emotional as well as intellectual and respectful position for architecture and in the world, really. I think that young people have noticed how my work has changed from a photograph as an object to now using the essence of photography, light, photograms, pattern of light and dark contrast, shadows, all of that are photographic properties. But now I've taken them solely out of a photograph and used all those in different way that's more physical and more sculptural, one that one can experience more than just looking at it. You're actually in it, you're actually incorporated in it. And just like these forms that you're walking by, you become part of it. And I think that is very appealing to young people who are looking for new ways to express themselves. But we all have to go back to history in some form. So I think a lot of young photographers, maybe in particular, have seen how I've kind of broken the mold of photography and gone into various other disciplines to express myself in a very photographic way.